Why I went solar. When we're talking solar, we're talking PV, photovoltaic, i.e. turning the sun's energy into electricity. Now, this isn't me, my friends. This is one of the frequent contributors on the channel from California. But I thought it's interesting. This guy, as do I, doesn't believe global warming. We both believe that's a global cooling coming in here for sure. And yet he still went solar, and I will do it as well. Because I like the idea of prepaying for my electricity in today's dollars, where the price of electricity is certainly going to continue to go higher and higher and higher. The more and more regulations get put on the grid, the more and more regulations that get put on fossil fuels, the more and more coal is looked at as evil and CO2. So I will go solar, not because I'm worried about global warming or CO2, because I absolutely am not, but I am like the idea of locking in electricity rates today that will not change, theoretically. But anyway, let's dive into this. I think this is pretty interesting, and he gave me express permission to share. I don't remember if he gave me express permission to say his name, so I won't, but just remember he lives in California. I think he's an electrical engineer by trade. Physicist, I can't remember, but a good guy, contributes a lot. Don't agree with me on everything. He doesn't like to take on reverse mortgages, but he did his own research, and that's all I say is just don't follow the crowd and say I got to do this or I got to do that because everybody else is saying it. Just do some research, man. Anyway, so here goes. Josh, below are the articles I wrote about 6 months ago. A year ago, we collected data from 7 proposals in a spreadsheet to compare. And an engineer, as you can tell, is good. I love it, man. That's too much for me, so I'll take his and I'll go with it. And I haven't read this, by the way. I have yet to read this article, so I will share it with you and we'll dissect it together. The savings calculation in the article is overstated by a factor of 3. If a more precise geometrical series calculation for bonds is applied. Oh my goodness. Boom! All right. All I see there is a savings in the article is overstated by 3 if a more geometrical series calculation for bonds was applied. I don't know if you can use geometrical calculation for bonds, my friend, because bonds do not get compounding interest. But understood. Nevertheless, it does illustrate the value, which was the intention. Absolutely. So basically what he's saying is, look, I might overstate this if you have a comparative investment in bonds. I get that. And he's saying I'm overstating it significantly if you compare this to bonds, using bonds with compounding interest. So we'll just say it's overstated by a factor of 2 times as much. So that's fine. The articles were published in Nextdoor to share our decision process with our neighbors. There is at least one more part of the series not finished named The Install that details process for installation of the PV system. Articles were meant to be close and personal by sharing our decision process and giving insight of how we came to our conclusion. We received several offers from periodicals to publish them, but have not had the desire to do so yet. Please feel free to use the articles and as with attribution. Alberto. So Alberto, there you go. So I guess I guess I have to attribute to my man Alberto. I won't say his last name because I'm not sure. Actually, I don't know. So he'll let me know if I need to attribute that to him full first and last name. If I do, I will absolutely share that with you. But anyway, let's keep going. Our PV system was installed in December and is working now, and that's December 2018. Below are the article excerpts from Nextdoor postings. Best of luck. All right. So August 28th, he reposted the article due to the number of questions data received. Plan to write 2 more articles detailing. All right, here we go. Update. We were able to negotiate a small price match this morning from the other proposal that brought the gross and net cost per watt down. We were adding the update cost in parentheses for reference. Okay, so today we made the decision to go solar. This took some time, effort, and was not trivial. We wanted to share our journey in the event it would help someone else. First of all, let me disappoint a lot of my neighbors. Our decision has nothing to do with the environment or any other related cause, only economics. Touche, my friend, touche. Every case is different, so it behooves upon every person to figure out your needs and requirements. Why solar? Well, as a retiree, normalizing expenses over time is important, man. That's one I could not agree that more. As inflation or taxes are the biggest challenge, but there has to be a present and future values. If not, what's the point? We estimated there was. Our requirements for a solar system are for a reliable and upgradable system that covers anywhere from 90 to 100% of our usage. I'm going to presume that means electricity. Technology is evolving, so we want a sustainable technology for 20 to 30 years. Net cost per watt of 220 or less with 320 watt minimum size panels and micro inverters. All right, so a 320 watt, that's probably a good 1 square meter for that size of a panel right there, I presume. That's a big panel for sure. Install has to be clean and professional by certified installers. No outside cables all over, and a good roof and service warranty, 15 to 20 years. A lot of the newer technologies met the performance requirements, but not the cost, so we had to trade off to available technology at the cost. After averaging our Edison bill over the past 3 years and using the last 12 months, we estimated a system between 4 kilowatt and 5 kilowatt would produce the kilowatt hours we need. Our average use was 542 kilowatt hours per month, or about 6,500 kilowatt hours per year. That's it. All right, I got to get my bill here. Hold on just a second, because that's cheap. Hold on. All right, so my man Alberto was averaging 542 kilowatt hours per month. That's about, I guess we are averaging, last year, we are averaging 90, no, that's last year. It looks like we're averaging about 2,000 kilowatt hours per month, probably about a little bit more. And it looks about 2,000. So we're about 4 times as much as him. That's interesting. But now we do live in a different climb for sure. But he's averaging about 542 with, I guess, 2 people, Alberto and his beautiful. And we have 6 in here, and we live in Georgia. So a little bit different climate for sure. But anyway. All right, so notice that the kilowatt hours are AC, not DC. It's important to know alternating current versus direct current. DC is batteries, which is what solar photovoltaic will be, DC. So the size of the system is 4.5 kilowatts is DC, direct current. Armed with this information, we solicited and obtained 5 proposals. We created a workbook with the options and criteria on the vertical side and the proposals horizontally on the top. We proceeded to enter and analyze the estimated numbers on each solution. Proposals came from both local and national companies. First, we looked at the options, purchase, lease, or prepaid. Initially, prepaid was most attractive. It offers the advantage of not owning the equipment and sunk to depreciation costs. We only pay for the energy. Sounds good until you read the terms and conditions and find out the restrictions and liabilities on the property it brings if we decide to sell. My man Meet Kevin did a video. That's the first I came up with Meet Kevin. He did a video on this exact thing, purchase, lease, or prepaid. And it's very interesting because Meet Kevin is a young guy. He's a young, like a Graham Stephen. I like him, actually. I like his videos, kind of. I like Graham's a little bit better, but I like that video in particular. It was great, so I subscribed to his video. You should watch that. Interesting. After careful study, we determined that in our situation, buy was the only option. Yeah, that's what I completely agree. Leasing has its pros and cons, but the escalating factor per kilowatt hour makes it not practicable for us. Yeah. Also has the restrictions and liabilities of the prepaid option. They did not make it easy, and it is a business to them. They did not make it easy, and it is a business to them, not a cause. Remember that. So remember, these solar panel companies are not there because they're trying to save the world by CO2. No, they're there to make money. Just keep that in mind. And they want you to lease. My man Meet Kevin talked about that actually, and I guess Tesla is offering some new leasing options that look pretty fantastic actually. I can't remember the whole point, but you got to watch this video. About 4 months later, we attended a seminar sponsored by the Community Environmental Council named Solarize. Boy, it sounds very Bolshevik. We found out that they had vetted several contractors and had priced various designs at a better cost per watt. One of the contractors at the meeting had given us a proposal already. We spoke to April and agreed to have 2 contractors at the meeting send us proposals. One an update and the other new based on the Community Environmental Council design cost of $320 per gross watt. We found this to be a great deal if it met our requirements, as it appeared to do so. We received the 2 proposals, analyzed and evaluated them against our requirements. Both met all of our requirements, but one offered a better service, roof, and performance warranty at 25 years. Notice the manufacturer of product and production warranty are the most important ones to get. The workmanship varies from company to company. Personally, we are skeptical about warranties. Man, Alberto, me too, brother. Most of the time, they're not worth the paper they're written on, so don't pay extra for them. When evaluating these proposals, keep in mind that these numbers are estimates, not the final installed design. Get everything in writing. If it's not in the agreement, it is not. So do not expect it. Agreement should identify the equipment, warranties, terms, and conditions, and any limitations. Invest the time to read it, as Alberto does. We also request references and search reviews as homework. After all, it's a lot of money, and we're assuming the risk if it does not work for us. And by the way, you're putting this on your home. And if you were to do it in my neighborhood, you'd be the only person with these panels. And so your house is going to stick out like a sore thumb. Probably not so much in California, especially given that they're mandating this nonsense. But still, I mean, without question, you are putting something on your home that is unique. It is. Rightly or wrongly, a lot of people are still, I'm still skeptical. Like, I don't know. Once you sign the agreement, we have not yet, make sure that the estimated payment schedule in the agreement matches the work. It only takes a day or two to install and a day to get the permission to operate from Edison. Edison customer service was awesome. They guided us on how to handle the transition. We found out things like our California climate and recycling rebates will remain after going solar. Search for these rebates in your last 12 months of electric bills. The proposals we received didn't include them in our estimates. We found discrepancies in their estimates from the actuals in our bill. We reconciled the estimates once we added the rebates. Although the contractor we selected gross cost per watt was the highest at $368, he gave us parentheses at $359. It turned out to be the lowest net cost once we applied for the Fed 30% in manufacturer rebates, the 30% tax credit. I'm sweating because I was just doing making some. Just doing some beef jerky. So if you're wondering why I'm sweating a little bit, because I was around the dehydrator doing some beef jerky. After rebates, we calculated the purchase price per watt to be about $325 for a system that produces 100% of our usage. That, what do you say, 525 kilowatt hours a month, and guarantees 92% production in writing after 25 years. The IRR was estimated at 12%, but the actuals we believe to be higher. The estimated net cost per watt was $2.14. Not bad. Meets our needs and requirements. Why we went solar? For the reasons previously stated, in the 30% federal tax rebate will be higher and cover our 2018 tax liabilities. Something to be aware. Everyone is going to time of use with Edison next year. The federal 30% will be reduced to 27% and scales down the years after. Yay. Once solar, you select a billing monthly or yearly called net metering. I'm glad they're reducing that because it's, I mean, look, I don't mind people taking advantage of it. You didn't write the tax code, Alberto, or anyone else did. But it's a scam to take from the poor middle-class taxpayer to the rich. It's just like the Tesla stuff. I mean, these guys out there, these rich, fancy, schmancy guys driving their Teslas are getting these freaking huge tax write-offs on the back of the middle-class people. It's nuts. There is a connection fee of $990 a month that has to be paid by everyone the first year. After the first year, if you are deemed a producer by Edison, if the system produces correctly, it will generate enough credits to cover this cost on a yearly basis. In time of use, any overage produced during the high demand time, 40 cents a kilowatt hour, Edison credits you at that price. 48 cents a kilowatt hour? That can't be right? In time of use, any overage produced during that high demand time, 48 cents a kilowatt hour, Edison credits you at that price. I'm confused by that. That seems, even California, seems hugely high. There's a schedule based on month of the year that Edison uses to pay producers between 2 and 4 cents kilowatt hour. That's what my man Meet Kevin was saying. They'll pay you 2 to 4 cents kilowatt hour, but in California it costs 20 cents kilowatt hour. So, and they resell it to others at a regular price. Exactly. That's exactly what this guy said. He goes, man, you're basically giving them wholesale and they're buying it retail. They're selling it retail. You're selling it to them wholesale and they're selling it to the other consumers at retail. It is what it is. Finally, we expect, based on the actuals, that our estimated break-even point is about 6 years, so it makes economic sense now. And they use a 10-year bond yield times probability, and okay, so he's got his calculations there. Estimated value of cost, $37,000. If you survived and read this note and have questions, feel free to message me. Okay, live long and prosper. All right, day before yesterday, we signed the agreement. What is that? What does it mean? The agreement is a legal contract that obligates both the buyer and the seller to deliver and receive products, services, warranties under the specific terms of the contract. Huge step, but as stated in our initial article, why we went solar, if we had made the decision, this is the natural next step. In our particular situation, we read the agreement at least 3 times to the surprise of the vendor. We actually read the agreements of both final vendors and ask questions. We challenge the agreement, not in legality, but content. For example, before we sign up, we insisted the agreement had to have scheduled dates for the work that needed to be performed. We also requested that specific product and written warranties and other publications be referenced and attached to the agreement as exhibits. We felt this would protect both parties in agreement. We also reviewed the terms and conditions, discovered several things about solar not clearly defined in the agreement or proposal. Example, one agreement warranty for production and product stayed 25 years for both, but the service was only covered for 15. We also found that some warranties for product performance or the solar system are specified in the terms of standard test conditions, while other in the photovoltaic test conditions. STC conditions are the ideal normal 70-degree weather, while PTC conditions are harsher real-life sun, wind, and pressure variations. It turns out the solar panels have ratings for these conditions. A solar panel can be rated as specified at 330 watts at standard conditions, but the rating under PTC, real life, would be much lower, say 315 watts. So if my product production says that they warrant the panel's production at 95% at 25-year under PTC, this is not the same as 85% under STC. Two separate and distinctive conditions, big time actually. I would not have known that. That's fantastic. No, you want to get the 95 under PTC as opposed to 85 under STC, bar none. Of course, I imagine the 95 under PTC would be a lot more expensive. That's interesting. So read the warranties and ask specific questions about their meaning of workmanship, product, roof, install, production, more. These warranties define the type of service and response time you will receive once it's installed. Another one to look for is, who do you call if there's a problem? What's the response time to inspect, evaluate, and fix it? Other things to understand, your proposal is based on an estimation model. The numbers are not guaranteed. The proposal is just an offer of product and whatnot. Remember, if it's not in the agreement, it doesn't exist. Example of these are the system production's kilowatt hours. Folks, this is an estimate. Your actual production can be higher or lower depending on your location, installation, equipment performance. I completely agree. Objects in the mirror are closer than they appear, like the vehicle and your vehicle passenger side mirror. Other favorite of mine is the IRR, internal rate of return. This is called percentage that typically does not account for Edison rebates or incentives such as climate rebate or air condition rebate. Although electric bills are provided for the estimates, we found after receiving 7 proposals that none include the rebates, and they all assumed a cost of 21 to 20 cents per kilowatt hour. Our actual cost is 17 cents per kilowatt hour. We also called Edison and used their model for forecasting our bill under our time of use. We found out that Edison does not use actuals. They use some average that is not reflective of our consumption. All right, that's interesting to know. So if you use their times of use calculator and it says you will save money, beware, it's not accurate. Speaking to a representative was very helpful as she walked us through the process of going solar from their perspective. All right, so that's pretty good to know. After all, there's no guarantee your solar investment break-even point of 5, 7, or even 10 years will be realized. The guarantees in the agreement are estimates cushioned by a bunch of conditions, including active God. So there's risk God's going to come down and bang your solar panels and crack and whatnot. Our taken scale of 1 to 5, the risk is 2, low, because maturity and past performance. This means that in our estimation, there's less than a 40% chance that this won't work. We'll get some value over time, but not necessarily what was estimated. Another common production warranty you see is a dreaded 2 years of degradation. This means they estimate what your 2-year production ought to be based on a degradation factor and provide warranty service based on that. Example, you install your system and it produces 120% the first year, and then 6 months into the second year, it goes down because of a bad panel. Under the warranty, using the 2-year average, your system might still perform as warranted because the 2-year estimate stated in the agreement says at the end of year 2, product should have produced 180% for the 2 years. It did, but it went. That's almost like an investment return. In this case, the vendor-approved service may or may not jump to you service your system. That's interesting. And online solar reviews indicate wait times as long as 3 months for service in some extreme cases. In our specific situation, we used the Community Environmental Council solarized vetting to select vendors. Okay. Talked about that already. Another step along is the field survey. Vendors typically send out a senior installer or knowledgeable person called engineer to service our roof, survey our roof, electric panel, and possible installation concept. They take pictures of your meter, electrical panel, attic, roof, and other areas to help assess your install. They also develop the intention of drawing used to get the permit, sometimes request approval in the HOA. It's important to understand the role of the vendor, city inspector, and Edison, the utility in particular. Their electrical panel was not grounded. City inspector would require solar installers to add ground rods and tie them in for grounding. Well, that's good. It brings the potentially added cost. We will take care of it before installation and inspection to avoid this. Grounding is one of the biggest issues with older homes as the national codes have changed over time. If you made it this far, your stand-up was unbelievable. My apologies for any grammar or typos, and thank you to all that contribute to our journey. All right, so I wish maybe we'll do a video with Alberto after he does. Let's see, he doesn't say exactly. He doesn't say we have. All right, it'd be interesting to see what he says after this because he did get installed. Because he wrote this about 6 months ago. It'd be interesting to see. So I'm curious. So I don't think he had another article on this. But anyway, if you have questions and you want to put them on the notes, I'm sure my man Alberto will be happy to address it for you. So this is this is an engineer guy, a guy who doesn't take lightly this kind of stuff, and this is why he went solar. I think you'll like it. All right. Don't forget to smash ask questions. Love to hear them. If you have comments to add, put them in there too. We can all learn from each other. Thanks now.